And today we have a pretty brief live video for you guys. And again, the reason why is simply because our Cobenfy or xanomeline video has surpassed our greatest expectations. Again, I just made that video. I'm not a psychiatrist. I made that video simply because I was astounded by how effective and how different Cobenfy is regarding in relation to every other antipsychotic on the market. If you do any sort of background on me, you know that I am a licensed family medicine physician. I currently run Mazon Coaching LLC, where I provide medical legal help and medical coaching to patients and hospitals and clinics. If you want to work with us, just email us at mazoncoaching@gmail.com. But this will be a very short video simply because I to add context to how Cobenfy works and how miraculous and game changing this is. Again, I'm not paid by the people or the companies that make this drug or anything. If I would love to be sponsored if possible. Um, but all my research back when I was in medical school and residency was in psychiatry and more so in child psychiatry. So I did, and even in when I did my undergraduate at UCLA, my studies were in neuroscience and particularly child development and psychopathy. So, antipsychotics and schizophrenia is basically part and parcel of all the research that I did during my academic career. And all the medications that dealt with psychoses and schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, really worked on the dopaminergic receptors or dopamine's neurotransmitter system. And so basically in this video, we can start off by asking a question. What if I told you that a new antipsychotic with absolutely no dopamine blockade could possibly replace every single drug that we use today? And, many physicians, especially Kendall, hi, good to see you again. So, many psychiatrists would say no, like, I love aripiprazole or I love some other drug like Latuda or something. Hey, Tushar, how you doing, man? Good to see you. So many people will say like, look, like these are tried and true drugs. Like I don't want to change how I practice medicine, but patients have a right to know. And again, I don't get paid by anyone. I run my own business, so but the reason why I share this information on YouTube is simply because there's such a disconnect in what patients know. Thank you so much. Like that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. And hey Mukesh, how you doing, man? How you doing? Again, if any of you need medical coaching or want to become physicians in America, email us at mazoncoaching@gmail.com. We have a lot of clients from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and even South America. There we have quite a few clients all over the world, really. So good to see you guys. Okay, so so in this video, we're basically going to count down from number 5 to number 1. And at the end of the video, during the video, I want you guys to comment below if I want you guys to comment below if you have taken these drugs or if you know anyone who's taken these drugs, any side effects that they've had, and if you think that a different medication might help them. So number 5 on the list. So again, this is a list of antipsychotics that we use regularly, but Cobenfy basically has disrupted the antipsychotic and schizophrenia medication market. So number 5 is lurasidone, otherwise known as Latuda in the United States. And again, these brand names might be different in Europe and Asia. So I'm going to give both names. So I'm going to give the generic or scientific name, and I'm going to give the American brand name. So lurasidone is known as Latuda in the US, and again, the mechanism is that it is a D2/5-HT2A antagonist and a 5-HT7 modulation. So what this means is that it works on both the dopamine pathway or receptor, and it also works on serotonin. Serotonin is known as 5-HT. So if you ever see 5-HT, that's serotonin. So it works on both dopamine and serotonin. I am, yes, yes. I'm a licensed family medicine doctor. Yes, yeah. Oi, Lucas, how you doing? Um, and the use of Latuda is for both bipolar depression and schizophrenia. The outcome is that it does have low metabolic risk, but it's extremely expensive and can cause nausea. So unless you have extremely good health insurance, it's really difficult to procure lurasidone or Latuda. Okay, so number 4 is a drug called risperidone or Risperdal. So Risperdal we see a lot inpatient, like meaning like in the hospital, but it's also quite it's a very common drug for psychoses and schizophrenia. And the mechanism again, it's a D2 5-HT2A antagonist. This means again dopamine and serotonin. And the usage is for schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, but also irritability and autism. So many of our patients that have autism spectrum disorder, we give them very small doses of Risperdal or risperidone, simply because it helps mitigate or lower a lot of the irritability that's associated with autism. Again, this is very effective, but it leads to a very high prolactin and D2 blockade, which might lead to extrapyramidal symptoms like EPS and also weight gain. So many patients that are on risperidone or Risperdal, they become non-compliant, like or non-adherent, like they just don't want to use the drug anymore because they just gain a lot of weight. Yeah, and you could also get extrapyramidal symptoms. These basically means like tremors or shaking. Your eyes might have a little bit of vision loss. Okay, so that was number 4. Number 3 is a drug that I've given Mr. Watermelon. Hey, how you doing? Number 3 is a drug that I've prescribed so many times. Like it's clozapine, and clozapine is very effective. And it's very common actually that we prescribe. I'm good. I'm good. How are you, man? It's good to see you. So clozapine is known as Clozaril in the US, and Clozaril or clozapine is a broad antagonist. So this means that it works on D2, but also 5-HT2A and other. That's good, man. That's good. So it works on many different receptors. Like that's very important because like that's why we use Clozaril, and that's why insurance companies they allow patients to have it. So so the usage is for what's called treatment resistant schizophrenia. So it's a gold standard, but it requires I love you too, man. How's your journey going? Like how's your I remember the last time we talked, I think you were in I think you were in high school, right? You were interested in going to pre-med in college. How's everything going? Yeah, but anyway, so Clozaril it's used for treatment resistant schizophrenia. So it's a gold standard, but of course you need monitoring. So if you are on Clozaril, make sure that you don't miss any appointments with your doctor or psychiatrist. And the outcome is that it does have the best efficacy, meaning like effect, but it is risky. Like it leads to agranulocytosis and myocarditis. Oh, nice, nice. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, right. You're in middle school. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. Like, hopefully you'll, I'm a licensed, I'm a doctor, I'm a medical doctor. So if you ever want to go into medicine or anything, feel free to ask me any questions, man. Um, okay. And number 2 is Abilify. Abilify is extremely common. It's known as aripiprazole. So aripiprazole is the scientific name. And Abilify is just the American brand name. So it's a partial D2 agonist, meaning that it stabilizes dopamine versus blocking it. It's used for schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and an adjunct, meaning like we add it for very, very bad major depressive disorder or depression. And the outcome, it does have a lower metabolic risk, but it can cause akathisia. So akathisia, I forgot what that was. Um, what was akathisia? I think it's like the dancing thing. Yeah, so it's a movement disorder characterized by an inner restlessness and a compelling urge to move. often causing individuals to fidget, rock, pace, or be unable to sit still. So it's a side effect of a lot of these like drugs. My man, yeah, sub, and my sister wants to be a doctor or a surgeon. She's 15. Dude, both of you go in like I mean, okay, I'm not gonna tell anyone to become a doctor because the world is like crazy right now. Um, but I mean, good for your sister, dude. What do you want to be, Mr. Watermelon? like, like your sister wants to be a doctor. Like, if she needs any help, email me. I can help her out with anything she needs. Um, okay, so that's what akathisia is. Let me pull it up. So aripiprazole is extremely useful. Like if anyone watching is on aripiprazole, nice. Do you play? Like, do you play baseball? Timestamp. What? You need some patience. Timestamp. And spoiler alert, right? So number one, the absolute best. Very nice, very nice. So the absolute best antipsychotic, and again, I have nothing to do with this medication. I don't even know what company makes this, but it's Cobenfy. So timestamp. So Cobenfy, otherwise known as xanomeline trospium, or otherwise known as, take care, Mr. Watermelon. Thanks for joining. So xanomeline trospium or CAR-XT, and in America it's known as Cobenfy, is as of now, you too, have a great day, man. Thanks for joining. Cobenfy is the number one most effective antipsychotic that we have today. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Timestamp. I would rate it a good, like a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. There's no such thing as a 10 out of 10. As a doctor, I have to make sure that people understand that. Like, medications are not perfect. And, Cobenfy is very, very new. So, like, in order for us to know, like, the efficacy rates, absolutely. So in order for us to know efficacy rates, like, we need at least 10 years of clinical data. So we call this stage 4, or, real world data. And this is like the secret that doctors know. Like, many of the medications that we prescribe, we don't know how effective they are. Like, we have a rough idea, but we're not the researchers, right? Like, we're just the ones that take care of patients. But there are pharmaceutical companies that do research on actual patients. And then after about a decade, that's when we truly know whether, like, for example, Tylenol is very good at reducing fever, right? So we didn't know that immediately. We didn't know that acetaminophen or paracetamol was like amazing at reducing fever. We just were like, oh, okay, like it helps a little bit with pain, like with headaches, like, with fevers. But, now we know that, like, out of like, NSAIDs and paracetamol or acetaminophen, aspirin, Tylenol is really the gold standard as an antipyretic. So antipyretic basically means reducing fever. That's all it means. So Cobenfy or xanomeline trospium, and again, I've done so much research on this, like, since I made that video, and watch my video on Cobenfy, please. Like everyone that I'm making this live stream just to really, so you guys watch I have 2 videos on Cobenfy. So please like, subscribe, share my channel, whatever you guys want to do. It really helps us like spread the information. But please watch those 2 videos. Like, watch the first one. It's just called, I think I just called it Cobenfy or something, and the second one is like Cobenfy update. And I talk about the international supply chain, whether countries like India and Bangladesh are getting it as of today, and I go more in depth into how this drug works and why it's very, very phenomenal. And again, I'm not into, I don't recommend any financial advice, but it's going to be a drug that basically changes the world. Like, that's really it. Like, if the company that makes it is smart and they're fair to patients, and that's going to be the drug that we all prescribe. Like, every single doctor in the world is only going to prescribe Cobenfy. That's really it's my hypothesis. And you can say, like, hey, you were here in 2025, Dr. Naheem Mizan said this, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, so xanomeline trospium CAR-XT, or Cobenfy, the way it works is that it is the world's very first muscarinic receptor agonist. So again, muscarinic receptor agonist, meaning that it is M1 and M4 selective. It has nothing to do with the dopamine or D2 blockade. So there are no extrapyramidal symptoms like akathisia or tremors or anything, or any metabolic side effects. Again, like I need to restate that. So this is the very first drug ever that humans have created, like like for psychosis and schizophrenia, that has zero side effects on on movement or like any of these other symptoms that like every single person with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder has been experiencing because of medication. So the beauty of that, speaking as a doctor, is that patients are going to continually take it, right? Because the problem with the current antipsychotic medications is that their side effects are so bad and annoying that our patients just stop taking them, and I don't blame them, right? Like it's they cause such horrible side effects that I can understand why people would be non-adherent or non-compliant with them. Again, I'm a human too, right? Like if I were to take certain medications and I hate them, they cause problems, I'm probably going to stop taking them too, maybe, right? So so Cobenfy, the way that it works, so it's used for schizophrenia, and phase 3 trials show significant reduction in PANSS scores. So let's look that up, guys. So PANSS scores. Okay, so this basically stands for positive, and this is on MD Calc, so anyone can look this up. So just go to mdcalc.com, mdcalc.com, type in PANSS. So positive and negative syndrome scale for schizophrenia. So it basically looks at delusions, conceptual disorganization, hallucinatory behavior, excitement, grandiosity, suspiciousness, hostility, and those are the positive effects of schizophrenia, and the negative effects of schizophrenia are blunted affect, emotional withdrawal, poor rapport with other people, difficulty in abstract thinking, lack of spontaneity and flow of conversation, stereotyped thinking. So this is a weird thing. It basically means decreased fluidity, spontaneity, and flexibility of thinking as evidence in rigid, repetitious, or barren thought content. And then there's just a general psychopathology scale, which involves somatic concern, meaning concern of their own body, anxiety, guilty feelings, tension, mannerisms and posturing, depression, motor slowness, uncooperativeness, unusual thought content, disorientation, poor attention, lack of judgment and insight, disturbance of volition, poor impulse control, preoccupation, active social avoidance, and that's about it. And this was made by Dr. Stanley R.K., PhD, who was a research psychologist at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in the Bronx, New York. Oh, very cool. I actually did a lot of my rotations in the Bronx, so that's very cool. Anyway, so Cobenfy shows immense improvement with the PANSS scale. And again, that just objectively shows that it works extremely well. That's all it means. Like from a human, in a human way to say it, it just means that the drug works extremely well. And because it doesn't work on the dopamine receptor system, it basically omits a ton of those yucky side effects that people get, and then they stop taking their medication. So even if so a good way of measuring these things is even if two different drugs are the same effectiveness, what matters is if the patient is actually taking the drug, right? So if a patient isn't taking a drug that's equally effective, then in the real world, the effect, like, the use of it goes down, or rather the usability of it, let's call it, the usability goes down. But if a patient is taking a drug that has the same efficacy, the same effectiveness, but it has absolutely no side effects, and they're like, oh yeah, I can totally take this every morning, you're going to see improvement. So please watch my videos on Cobenfy. I have 2 right now, like the original video where I discovered it and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, everyone should be talking about this. And I made an update video as well, and I basically talk about, like, okay, like, it's here in America, people are actually prescribing it. The only caveats I have with this is, number one, the whole world is not, they're not exporting it to other countries as of yet, which, hopefully within the next year, like in 2025, 2026, this will happen. And number two is that even in the United States, even if you have good insurance, it's extremely expensive, simply because the other drugs are already there, right? So whenever a new drug comes onto the market, this is very normal. Like, it takes a few years for the drug to decrease in price, like, simply because they need to increase, right, production and all this stuff. So anyway, I have high hopes. So just to summarize this video, and for everyone watching in the future, this is a live video, so thanks for watching. So the top 5 antipsychotics: number 5 is lurasidone or Latuda, number 4 is risperidone or Risperdal, number 3 is clozapine or Clozaril, number 2 is aripiprazole or Abilify, and number 1 is xanomeline trospium, otherwise known as KARXT or CARXT, and the brand name is called Cobenfy. So, and again, please watch my videos on that. Please like and subscribe. It really helps our channel. And if you do want to work with us directly, if you need medical coaching, medical legal advice, if you want to transition out of the if you're a doctor like me who wants to leave the clinical world and go into consulting or entrepreneurship, contact me. I'm happy to help you out. And until next time, thanks everyone for joining, and I hope you guys have a great Saturday. Take care.